Trash from another school. Learn to kneel if you want to survive here. Derek Rohr, the undisputed king of Crestwood High, stood like a monument in the middle of the bustling main hallway. His shoes, impeccably polished, were planted firmly, a symbol of his unshakable dominance. His chin was tilted at that precise angle, a perfect reflection of someone who had never once encountered the sting of denial. A hush fell over the hallway. Dozens of students froze in their tracks, their youthful energy momentarily suspended. Lockers slammed shut with a resounding clang, the metallic echo amplifying the tension in the air. Conversations, once vibrant and animated, abruptly died, leaving an unsettling silence in their wake. On the cold, unforgiving tile floor lay a girl, unmoving, seemingly defeated. Her name was Lena Hallberg, a recent addition to Crestwood High, a 17-year-old transfer student, shrouded in an aura of anonymity. She had no friends to call her own, no digital footprint on social media, no affiliations with any clubs or organizations. She wore an oversized gray hoodie, its hood pulled low, casting her face in shadow, a deliberate attempt to blend into the background, to disappear. And now her textbooks, her tools of learning, were scattered around her like the debris of an explosion, a chaotic mess that she had not caused, a violation of her personal space. Derek's foot hovered menacingly where he had kicked her ankle, a casual act of cruelty that spoke volumes about his character. His fingers were still curled tightly around the strap of her backpack, the very same backpack he had yanked with such force that she had been sent crashing to the ground, her face meeting the hard tile first. A collective gasp rippled through the observing crowd, a mixture of shock and fear. Most students, however, simply watched, their phones held at the ready, but not recording. Everyone knew the unspoken rules at Crestwood. You do not record Derek Rohr. You do not cross Derek Rohr. And you certainly do not ignore Derek Rohr when he deigns to speak to you. Lena, with a quiet resilience, pushed herself up from the ground. Her palms were scraped, tiny beads of blood blooming against her pale skin, a testament to her fall. She did not wince. She did not cry. She simply reached for her chemistry textbook, then her notebook, then her pencil case, placing each item carefully back into her bag with a deliberate calm, a composed demeanor that seemed to irritate Derek, causing his jaw to tighten with barely suppressed anger. Clear's throat. He stepped closer, invading her personal space, his presence radiating intimidation. "Did you hear me?" I said. "Kneel." His voice dripped with condescension, each word a calculated barb. Lena stood. She was not tall, maybe 5 feet 4 inches, but there was something in the way she rose, a subtle shift in her posture, a quiet strength that made a few students instinctively step back. Her weight settled low, balanced, her feet shoulder-width apart, a stance that spoke of readiness, of control. For exactly half a second, her eyes flicked to Derek's hands. Not his face, his hands. A fleeting assessment, a strategic evaluation. Then, without a word, without a tear, without a plea, she turned and walked away. Just the soft sound of her sneakers against the tile, growing fainter with each step until she rounded the corner and disappeared from sight. Derek's face went from pink to red to something darker, a spectrum of fury brewing beneath his skin. His best friend, a thick-necked senior named Trent, let out a low whistle, a sound that was both impressed and mocking. "Bro, she just ghosted you in front of everyone. The ultimate humiliation. Shut up." Derek's voice was quiet now, a dangerous calm that was far more threatening than his shouts. "She is going to regret that." His words hung in the air, heavy with menace. The crowd dispersed slowly, whispers rippling outward like waves, carrying the story of the confrontation, of Lena's defiance. Nobody noticed the slight tremor in Lena's hands as she walked, a subtle betrayal of her inner turmoil. Nobody saw her duck into an empty bathroom and grip the edge of the sink until her knuckles turned white, a desperate attempt to maintain control. She stared at her reflection in the mirror, a stranger staring back. The hood shadowed her face, but her eyes were visible, dark brown, and very, very still, betraying none of the storm raging within. "Not yet," she whispered to herself. "Not yet." A mantra, a promise, a plea. What nobody at Crestwood High knew, what Lena had spent the last 12 months meticulously ensuring nobody would ever know, was that 1 year ago, she stood on a podium in Budapest with a gold medal around her neck, the weight of victory heavy on her shoulders. The announcer called her by a different name then, the Silver Fox, Black Belt, World Youth Judo Champion. She was 16 years old and she was untouchable, a force to be reckoned with, until she became a target, a pawn in a dangerous game. The man whose son she had defeated in the finals had connections that stretched across 3 continents, a web of power and influence that could reach across borders and destroy lives. Within a week of her victory, Lena's mother received a photograph in the mail. It showed their house, their car, Lena walking home from school. The message was clear without words, a silent threat that spoke volumes. So Lena vanished, shedding her old identity like a snake sheds its skin. New name, new city, new school. No competitions, no interviews, no trace of the girl who once threw opponents twice her size onto the mat with effortless grace. With the precision of a surgeon and the speed of a striking snake, she promised her mother she would never fight again, a promise born of love and fear. She intended to keep that promise, but Derek Rohr did not know any of this. All he knew was that a nobody, a nothing, a transfer student with no connections and no power, looked at him like he was irrelevant, like he didn't matter. And Derek Rohr had destroyed people for less, crushing them beneath his heel with casual indifference. This quiet girl was hiding something big, something that challenged his authority, something that intrigued and infuriated him in equal measure. If you want to know her secret, hit that like button right now and subscribe to the channel. Trust me, you do not want to miss what happens next. The next morning, Lena arrived at school 45 minutes before the first bell. She liked it this way. Empty hallways, no crowds, no chances for confrontation. A sanctuary of solitude before the chaos of the day began. She moved through the building like a ghost, unseen, unheard, a whisper in the wind. Her hoodie up, her backpack slung low on one shoulder. She was a shadow, a phantom. She found a corner table in the cafeteria, a strategic location that offered a clear view of the entrances and exits, and pulled out a worn paperback. She pretended to read, her eyes scanning the words on the page, but her mind was elsewhere. The door, the windows, the exits. Every time someone entered, she tracked their movement without lifting her head. A silent observer, a constant assessor of potential threats. It was a habit ingrained in her by years of training, a fundamental principle of survival. Know your environment, know your escape routes, know who is a threat and who is not. The cafeteria filled slowly, the silence gradually replaced by the murmur of voices and the clatter of trays. Students clustered in predictable groups, drawn together by shared interests and social affiliations. Athletes near the windows, basking in the morning sunlight. Theater kids by the vending machines, their energy palpable. The academic overachievers at the long table closest to the outlets for their laptops, their faces illuminated by the glow of their screens. Lena belonged to none of them. She was an outsider, a lone wolf, a ghost in the machine. A girl with bright red hair and a cheerleading uniform approached her table, her smile radiating practiced enthusiasm. "Hey, you are the new girl, right? I am Brittany. We are having tryouts for the dance team this Friday. You should come." Her voice was bright and cheerful, a genuine invitation. Lena shook her head without looking up, her eyes still fixed on the page. "No, thank you." Her response was polite, but firm, a clear indication that she was not interested. Brittany blinked, her smile faltering slightly. "Oh, okay. Well, if you change your mind, just let me know." She lingered for a moment, clearly expecting more conversation, a more enthusiastic response, then shrugged and walked away, her initial enthusiasm dampened by Lena's cool indifference. Across the cafeteria, Derek Rohr watched. He had been watching Lena since she sat down, his gaze unwavering, his mind working, piecing together the puzzle that was Lena Hallberg. The way she chose a seat with her back to the wall, maximizing her field of vision. The way her feet were positioned flat on the floor, ready to move at a moment's notice. The way she turned down a social invitation without hesitation or explanation, defying the unspoken rules of high school social dynamics. Most new students were desperate to fit in, eager to please, willing to compromise their own identities to gain acceptance. They laughed too loud at jokes that were not funny. They agreed with opinions they did not hold. They bent, they yielded, they conformed. Lena did not bend. She was an enigma, an anomaly, a challenge to his authority. "She is weird," Trent said, dropping into the seat beside Derek, breaking his train of thought. "Just ignore her, man. She is nobody." Derek shook his head, his eyes still fixed on Lena. "That is the problem. She acts like I am nobody." His voice was low, laced with irritation. He tore off a piece of his croissant and chewed slowly, his gaze never leaving Lena. "I want to know everything about her. Where she came from, why she transferred, what she is hiding under that stupid hoodie." He was obsessed, consumed by the need to unravel her secrets, to expose her vulnerabilities. Trent grinned, sensing an opportunity to ingratiate himself with Derek. "You want me to ask around?" He was eager to do Derek's bidding, to prove his loyalty. "No." Derek's eyes narrowed, his expression hardening. "I want to handle this myself." This was his game, his challenge, and he was not about to delegate it to anyone else. The first period passed without incident. Second period, too. Lena kept her head down, focused on her studies, answering questions when called upon, and offering nothing more than necessary. She was a model student, diligent and respectful, but also distant and aloof. Her teachers marked her as quiet but competent, a student who blended into the background. Her classmates marked her as forgettable, which was exactly what she wanted. She was a master of disguise, a chameleon, adapting to her surroundings, minimizing her presence. But during third period, everything changed. The carefully constructed facade began to crack. Lena needed to use the restroom. The nearest one was occupied, a sign on the door indicating that it was out of order. She walked further down the hall, past the administrative offices, past the guidance counselor's door, past the gym. The rhythmic squeak of her sneakers against the polished floor was the only sound in the otherwise silent hallway. The door to the physical education storage room was slightly open, a sliver of light escaping into the dim hallway. She would have walked past without a second glance, but she heard voices, muffled but distinct. One of them was familiar, a voice that sent a chill down her spine. "Derek Rohr. This is the last payment," Derek was saying, his voice low and conspiratorial. "My father wants this handled quietly. No paperwork, no questions." A deeper voice responded, gruff and authoritative. "Tell your father I appreciate his generosity. The equipment budget will reflect the donation appropriately." The words were carefully chosen, a thinly veiled euphemism for something far more sinister. Lena stopped, her heart pounding in her chest. Through the gap in the door, she could see Derek standing with his back to her, his posture radiating arrogance. Across from him was a man in a Crestwood High polo shirt, Mr. Calvin Doyle, the physical education teacher, a man she had always considered to be a pillar of the community. Derek was holding a thick manila envelope, and as Lena watched in disbelief, he slid it into the front pocket of Mr. Doyle's gym bag. The envelope was fat with cash, its contents undeniable. Lena's breath caught in her throat. She knew she should move. She should walk away, pretend she saw nothing, disappear into the crowd like she had been doing for the past 12 months. But her foot shifted just slightly, a momentary lapse in her carefully maintained control, just enough to make the faintest sound against the tile. A subtle betrayal of her presence. Derek turned, his eyes narrowing. Their eyes met for one frozen second, a silent exchange of knowledge and understanding. Neither of them moved, suspended in a moment of pure tension. Then Lena spun and walked away, fast but not running, her heart hammering against her ribs, her mind racing. She did not look back, but she knew with absolute certainty that Derek saw her, and she knew what that meant. The rest of the day passed in a blur of tension, each moment stretched taut with anxiety. Lena changed her route between classes, avoiding the main hallways, sticking to the less populated corridors. She ate lunch in the library instead of the cafeteria, surrounded by books, but unable to focus on the words. She kept her phone in her hand, her finger hovering over the emergency dial, a silent plea for help. Even though she knew calling for help would raise questions she could not answer, she was desperate, afraid. By the time the final bell rang, she had almost convinced herself that maybe Derek would let it go. Maybe the envelope was nothing, a simple misunderstanding. Maybe she had imagined the whole thing. Then she opened her locker. The word was spray painted in red across the inside of the metal door. A single venomous word. Rat. Below it, someone had stuffed a dead rat from the biology lab, its glassy eyes staring up at her in silent accusation. A symbol of betrayal, a message loud and clear. Lena did not scream. She did not flinch. She simply reached in, removed the rat by its tail. Her hand steady despite the revulsion she felt, dropped it into the trash can at the end of the hall, and began wiping the paint with paper towels from her bag. She was methodical, efficient, determined to erase the evidence, to reclaim her space. A group of students gathered to watch, drawn by the spectacle. Some laughed, their voices cruel and mocking. Some whispered, their words hushed and secretive. A few looked uncomfortable, their consciences pricked by the blatant act of intimidation. Lena kept wiping, her hands steady, her movements deliberate. Her face was blank, unreadable, a mask of composure. But inside, something cold was coiling tighter and tighter, a growing sense of dread and determination. She finished cleaning, closed her locker, and walked out of the building, her head held high, her shoulders squared. She refused to let them see her fear. Behind her, Derek Rohr leaned against the far wall, arms crossed, a smug smile playing on his lips. "See you tomorrow," he called after her, his voice dripping with menace. "We are just getting started." The next 3 days followed the same pattern. Escalation. The pressure mounted, the threats intensified, the harassment became relentless. Derek and his friends were determined to break her, to drive her out of Crestwood High. Derek and his friends spread rumors that Lena was expelled from her last school for stealing, painting her as a thief, a liar, a troublemaker. They created a fake social media account in her name, posting embarrassing photos pulled from random internet searches, attempting to humiliate her, to destroy her reputation. They tripped her in the hallway, sending her sprawling. They knocked books out of her hands, scattering her belongings across the floor. They whispered threats as she passed, their words laced with venom. "You think you can just watch and walk away? You think my family does not know how to deal with rats? Careful, transfer girl. People who see things they should not see tend to have accidents. My father is going to be governor someday." "What is your father?" "Oh wait, you do not have one, do you?" Each insult was designed to cut deep, to expose her vulnerabilities, to exploit her weaknesses. Each threat was calibrated to terrify, to instill fear, to control her actions. Lena absorbed them all, bearing the brunt of their hatred without flinching. She did not report the harassment, knowing that it would be futile. She did not fight back, remembering her promise. She did not even respond, refusing to give them the satisfaction of seeing her break. She just kept her head down, her hoodie up, her expression unreadable, a fortress of silence. What Derek did not notice, what nobody noticed, was the way her reactions did not match her circumstances. Her silence was not submission. Her passivity was not weakness. Her composure was not indifference. When he shoved her, she did not stumble forward like she should. She redirected, pivoting on her back foot, turning the force sideways. It looked like clumsiness, an accidental misstep. It was not. It was a subtle act of self-defense, a calculated maneuver. When he cornered her against a locker, trapping her, she did not press back against the metal, cowering in fear. She angled her body, creating space, keeping her center of gravity low, ready to move. It looked like fear, a desperate attempt to escape. It was not. It was a strategic adjustment, a preparation for what was to come. When his friend Trent grabbed her wrist, attempting to restrain her, she did not yank away, fighting against his grip. She rotated her arm, slipping free with a motion so subtle that Trent did not even realize what happened. He thought he lost his grip, that she was simply too weak to hold on to. He did not. She allowed him to think that. Lena was not cowering. She was waiting. She was biding her time, gathering her strength, preparing for the inevitable confrontation. On Thursday afternoon, everything came to a head. The pressure reached its breaking point. Derek found Lena in the parking lot after school, his patience finally exhausted. She was walking toward the bus stop, alone as always, her bag slung over one shoulder, a solitary figure against the backdrop of the school. He stepped out from behind a parked truck, blocking her path, his eyes blazing with anger. Trent appeared on her left, his presence menacing. Another friend, a tall junior named Wade, appeared on her right, cutting off her escape route. Lena stopped, her eyes sweeping the area, assessing the situation with a practiced gaze. The lot was mostly empty, the majority of students having already left for the day. A few cars remained, but their owners were nowhere in sight. The nearest security camera was 50 yards away, pointed in the wrong direction, offering no protection, no witness. Derek had chosen his location carefully, ensuring that they were isolated, that there would be no consequences for his actions. "Well, you have been avoiding me," he said, stepping closer, invading her personal space, his voice dripping with anger. "I do not like being avoided." Lena said nothing, her silence a deliberate act of defiance. She refused to engage, to give him the satisfaction of a reaction. "Here is what is going to happen." Derek's voice was low, almost pleasant, but there was a dangerous edge to it, a hint of violence lurking beneath the surface. "You are going to forget what you saw in that storage room. You are going to stop acting like you are better than everyone, and you are going to apologize to me right here, right now, on your knees." The silence stretched, thick with tension. The air crackled with unspoken threats. Then Lena spoke, her voice flat and quiet, but clear and unwavering. "No." The single word hung in the air, a challenge, a declaration of independence. Derek's smile vanished, replaced by a look of disbelief and fury. "What did you say?" He could not believe her audacity, her refusal to submit. "I said no." She repeated the word, her voice firm, her eyes unwavering. For a moment, nobody moved, frozen in place. The world seemed to hold its breath. Then Derek laughed, a sharp, ugly sound that echoed across the parking lot. "You really do not understand your situation, do you?" He shook his head in mock pity. "My father is the mayor of this city. My family has more lawyers than you have relatives. I could ruin your life with one phone call." He was flexing his power, reminding her of her insignificance. Lena's expression did not change. She was not intimidated. She had faced far worse than this. "Then make the call." Her challenge was direct, unwavering, a dare. Something flickered in Derek's eyes. Confusion maybe, or the first stirring of doubt. Nobody talked to him like this. Nobody defied him. Certainly not a nobody transfer student with no friends and no power. "Fine," he said, his voice hardening. "We will do this the hard way." He lunged, his anger finally boiling over. Lena sidestepped, her movements fluid and graceful. It was smooth, almost lazy, her body flowing around his grab like water around a rock. Derek stumbled past her, off balance, catching himself against the truck. Trent and Wade exchanged glances, their confidence shaken. That was not how this was supposed to go. The plan had gone awry. Derek straightened, his face flushed with anger and humiliation. "Grab her." He barked the order his authority challenged. They moved together, one from each side, attempting to corner her. Lena does not run. She stood her ground, a warrior preparing for battle. She shifted her weight, dropped her center of gravity, and waited, her senses heightened, her mind focused. When Trent reached for her arm, she rotated, using his momentum to pull him past her. He crashed into Wade, their bodies colliding. Both of them went down in a tangle of limbs, a heap of confusion and surprise. Derek stares, his mouth agape, his plan unraveling before his eyes. "What are you?" he demanded, his voice laced with disbelief. Lena does not answer. She bends to pick up her bag, which fell during the scuffle, and slings it back over her shoulder, her movements deliberate and controlled. Her hands are trembling, but not from fear. She is holding back, restraining herself. Every instinct screams at her to finish this, to sweep Derek's legs, lock his arm, put him on the ground, and keep him there until he begs for mercy. She has trained for this, she has mastered these techniques. She has won championships doing exactly this, but she promised. She made a vow. So she turns and walks away, leaving them in the dust. Derek's voice follows her, shaking with rage. This is not over. You hear me? This is not over. His threats hung in the air, empty but menacing. That night, Lena sits in her small apartment, staring at the wall, her mind replaying the events of the day. Her mother works double shifts at the hospital, sacrificing everything for her daughter, and will not be home until after midnight. The silence is absolute, broken only by the occasional siren wailing in the distance. She thinks about the envelope in Mr. Doyle's bag, the secret that has put her in danger. She thinks about the rumors Derek has spread, the threats he has made, the way the school administration seems to look the other way whenever his name comes up, the injustice of it all. She thinks about the promise she made, the vow she swore to uphold, and she wonders how much longer she can keep it, how much more she can endure. The weight of her past presses down on her, threatening to suffocate her. The next day is Friday. The week should be over, a relief after the torment. Lena should be able to retreat to her apartment, lock the door, and breathe for 2 days before the cycle starts again. A brief respite before the storm returns. But Derek Rohr is not finished. He is relentless, determined to break her spirit. During lunch, Lena is walking through the east hallway, attempting to avoid the crowds, seeking a moment of peace. It is usually empty at this time, a shortcut to the library that most students do not know about, a sanctuary of solitude. She has used it all week to avoid crowds, to escape the constant harassment. Today it is not empty. Derek is waiting, blocking her path. He is alone this time. No Trent, no Wade, just him standing in the middle of the hallway with his sleeves rolled up and something dark in his eyes. A look that promises violence. No more games, he says, his voice low and menacing. No more running. The time for games is over. Lena stops 10 feet away, her senses on high alert. Her bag slides off her shoulder, landing softly on the floor. A silent signal that she is ready. I do not know what you are. Derek continues, stepping closer, invading her personal space, his presence radiating intimidation. Some kind of freak, maybe. But here is what I do know. You saw something you should not have seen, and you are going to pay for that. He was cornering her, trapping her, leaving her with no escape. Lena's voice is very quiet, barely a whisper, but her words are firm, unwavering. I do not want trouble. She was making one last attempt to avoid the inevitable confrontation. Too late. Derek smiles, but there is no humor in it. It is a cruel, twisted expression, a reflection of the darkness within him. You should have thought about that before you stuck your nose where it did not belong. My father has worked too hard to let some nobody ruin everything. And I have worked too hard to clean up his messes. He was protecting his family, his legacy, his power. He is close now, his face inches from hers. Close enough that Lena can see the vein pulsing in his temple, the sweat beating on his forehead, the rage burning in his eyes. So here is how this ends. He says, his voice dripping with venom. You are going to disappear. Transfer to another school. Leave the state. I do not care where you go. But you are not going to be here anymore. And if you tell anyone what you saw, if you even think about talking, I will make sure your mother never works in this city again. He was threatening her, attacking her where she was most vulnerable, using her love for her mother against her. The mention of her mother makes something shift in Lena's chest. A subtle but profound change. A cold, hard knot that has been sitting there for a year suddenly tightens, constricting her heart. The dam is about to break. Do not, she whispers, her voice barely audible, but her words are filled with a quiet fury. Do not bring her into this. This was the line she would not allow him to cross. Derek laughs, his voice mocking. Or what? What are you going to do, transfer girl? He shoves her hard, his anger finally unleashed. Lena's back slams against the lockers, the metal clanging, echoing down the empty hallway, amplifying the violence of the act. Derek pins her there, one hand on her shoulder, preventing her from moving, the other raised, ready to strike. From somewhere nearby, a soft gasp. A sound that breaks through the tension. A sign that they are not alone. Lena's eyes flick to the right, her gaze drawn to the source of the sound. Standing at the far end of the hallway, frozen in place, is a girl with dark hair and wide, frightened eyes. Jenna Rohr, Derek's younger sister. The unexpected witness. Derek, Jenna says, her voice trembling, her fear palpable. Stop. Please stop. Derek does not turn around, his focus solely on Lena. Go away, Jenna. She is not like the others. Jenna's voice cracks, her words pleading. I have watched her all week. She is different. Please just leave her alone. I said go away, Derek shouts, his patience snapping. Jenna takes a step forward, her small act of courage defying her brother's authority. If you hurt her, I will tell Dad. I will tell everyone. She was risking everything, standing up for a stranger against her own brother. Now Derek does turn, his face twisted with something between rage and panic. You will what? You think anyone will believe you? You think Dad will take your side over mine? I am the one who fixes things. I am the one who protects this family. You are just the quiet little sister who stays in her room and pretends everything is fine. His words were cruel and dismissive, designed to wound. Jenna flinches like she has been slapped, her face contorting in pain. Her eyes fill with tears, but she does not run. She stood her ground, refusing to be silenced. Derek turns back to Lena, his face hardening, his resolve renewed. Now where were we? He draws back his fist, preparing to strike. Lena does not move. Her back is against the lockers, her escape blocked. Her hands are at her sides, her body relaxed but ready. Her face is expressionless, betraying none of the turmoil within. But her eyes are tracking every movement Derek makes, analyzing his stance, anticipating his attack. His weight shifts to his right foot. His shoulder rotates. His elbow rises. She has about 2 seconds before the punch lands, 2 seconds to react, to defend herself, to protect herself. Last chance, Derek says, his voice dripping with contempt. Apologize. Get on your knees or I will put you in the hospital and make sure everyone knows you started it. He was giving her one last opportunity to submit, to avoid the consequences of her defiance. Lena thinks about her mother, about the promise, about all the months she has spent hiding, pretending to be small, pretending to be weak, sacrificing her own identity to protect her loved ones. She thinks about the girl she used to be, the champion, the warrior, the force to be reckoned with. The conflict rages within her, tearing her apart. Then Derek swings. The punch is coming. Lena moves. The decision has been made. She ducks under his fist, her body dropping low, her hands coming up to redirect his arm. The motion is pure instinct, a lifetime of training taking over. Muscle memory forged through 10,000 repetitions on the mat, etched into her very being. Derek's momentum carries him forward off balance, his weight suddenly in exactly the wrong place, leaving him vulnerable. But he recovers fast, faster than she expected. His reflexes honed by years of street fights and schoolyard brawls. He spins, catches himself, and drives his knee toward her stomach, attempting to regain control. Lena twists sideways, evading the full force of the blow. The knee grazes her hip, painful, but not crippling. She backs up, creating space, her hands rising into a guard position that Derek does not recognize, but should. A silent warning. What are you doing? He is breathing hard now, his face red with rage and frustration. Fight back, you coward. Fight back so I can crush you. He wanted a fight, a chance to assert his dominance, to punish her for her defiance. Lena shakes her head, her voice pleading. I do not want to hurt you. She was still trying to avoid the conflict, to prevent the inevitable violence. Derek screams and charges, his anger finally consuming him. This time he does not swing. He grabs, both hands reaching for her throat, his full weight behind the attack, his intent clear. He wanted to silence her, to choke the life out of her. It is crude, it is predictable, and it is exactly what Lena has been trained to counter since she was 8 years old. Her body knows what to do. Her mind is prepared. But she hesitates. 1 second, maybe 2, just long enough for Derek's hands to close around her neck, his fingers digging into her skin. His thumbs press into her windpipe, cutting off her air supply. Stars burst across her vision, blurring her sight. She can hear Jenna screaming somewhere far away, her voice a distant echo in the chaos. Can feel her own heartbeat thundering in her ears, a frantic drumbeat counting down the seconds. And still she hesitates because if she does what her body is begging her to do, if she breaks his grip and puts him on the ground, if she unleashes the fury that has been simmering beneath the surface. Kong kan duong lui nu aroi, ko the camera kong ghi lai, and hung genetiko, chuyen nai se lon truyen. Ka hoi se duok dat ra, sao bac se by fat hien. Derek seat chat han. Hetman ming roy chu gi, rav kung ran lam ma. Het gonda roya, tam nin qua lena bat dao Thursday heplai. Long guk kobong rat. Ko gi veq on mat kwami. Vnoi so hai trong doi mat mi kai babat lena hua. Va roy Derek buong mot te ra. Nam tan dam. Nam tang veo mat koma tung mot ku den bang dao goi cuc man. Thoi john cham lai. Lena ko mot luachan. Juloi huavada mak ku dam jong suong. Hok favio no vasong sat. Jenadang che vi fia ho. Gao that ka q. And hung ko I qua exe. Qua cham. Qua muon. Dao goi qua Derek nak len. Hai te Lena van dat ben hong. Va han lang vang vong tiang ka q tuet vong qua Jenna. Ai du q ko id. Dao goi qua Derek hung len mat ko. Thoi john vo vun ton tung man. Va Lena kong kan du nua. Ko the ko siu dong truok kai tom tri kip van doi. Muoi hai nam ko luyen chiam lei gwin du keen. Tri no ko bap sao sak han sui gi. And han ca noi so. Ko ha thap trong tom. Zoe hong. Va hai te ko bat len trong mot dong tak yuan chuyen denemu si trong nu duok bien dao. Bon te tre qua ko bat lei dao goi dang nak len qua Derek. Bon te fi qua ko luan ra sao mat ka chon han. Kung luk du. Ko byuk len fi truok. Tuk vi veo ngakhan. That ly rat don john. Derek de don het suc veo ku tan song qua min. Ton bo trong luong qua han don len mot chan. Chuen tinde han vi fi truok. Lena chuyen hung chuen tin du. Bien no chong lai han. Su dung chin lu qua han lam vu kai. Fat nin han bei len kong trung. Ku nem chi dien ra trong chua de hai ga. Lung qua Derek dap veo san gach voi mot. Tan nu sam. Ren trong mot na tho trong rong. Kong kai ua ra koi foi han trong mot tang. Tho han hende suc ep. Truok kai han ko the siu dong. Truok kai han tam chi ko the su ly and hung gi vua zara. Lena de qui suong ben kan han voi ko te fi qua han by qua omot gok du kin ton bo kan te han taro nin vio dung. Ko kong lam han dao. Chua fi bai geo. And hung chi kan mot vong zoe no qua te ko. Kuyu te han se gap li theo mot hung ma kuyu te kong bao geo duok thiet kuda di theo. Derek nam bat dong tren nin gach lan leo. Nguk han fap fong. Mat han mo2. Nin cham cham len tren na. Kong the hu noi lam the now han tu kusan moi tro ton kan moi chi trong mot koen kok. Han lang tro nin hon tonim lang. Jenna dung chet lang catch du 15 feet. Hai te che ming. Doi mat ko mo2. Yut dam nuok mat. Don chat veo kan tuong kong the tin duok truok mat. Entre ko. Derek roar bat ka xam fam. By mot ko gai chi bang nua nuoi de suong dat. Muoi ga troi qua. Hai muoi ga. Derek kong siu dong. Kong the siu dong. Moi kai han ko gang thay doi trong luong. Lena lai du chin te nam qua min mot chut va kan dao ban qua kan te han nu dien jiet. Nam im. Ko noi ki. Nu on siu dong, se dao day. Jenna byuk mot byuk run ray v fia truok. Jong ko ti tau. Kalar ai. Lena engwak len. Kuon mat ko ben tin. And hung doi mat ko chua dung mot du gi du ko shua vanong ne. Mo Thursday gi du de chung kien quan yu. Gan va quan yu. che jiao quan yu trong mot thoi john quadai. Mot nuoi ma tuata hua rang tua si kong bao geo phi tro lai. And hung loi noi lo lung trong kong kai nu koi sao dam chai. Jenna nin cham cham. Derek nin cham cham. Su im lang kio di den muc kong the chiu dung duok. Saudu lina the te qua ra va dung len. Louis lai. Tao koang catch jua kova than hindang nam song soi qua Derek. Ko kong duate ra japan. Ko kong hahi. Ko chi don john la cho doi. Derek nam tren nin gach them 30 ga nua truak kai koi kung kung zoe, so lat nuoi nam engying. Kuan mat han tai not. Lam tam mo hoi. Kai han noi jong han kan dac. Mai lot si gi. Mai lot si kgi ve. Lina nin suang hai te min. Chung dang run ray. Kong 5 v gang suc. Kong 5 v so high. Ma v mot du gi du sao sakhan. Mot du gi du ma koda kim nin trong 12 thang. Mot nam truok. Ko noi cham rai. Tuata dung tren buk vin quang o Budapest voi mot hui chuang vang tren ko. Ho goi tua lot sao bac. Tua 16 tuoi va tua lana vio dike judo tre the gioi. Doi mat qua Derek mo2. Chong tre ma tua dan by trong tran chung ket la con tre qua mot nuoi ko, and hung moi quan he rat noi him. Trong vong mot tuan. Mi tua va tua bat down and duak and hung loi de doa. On chup ngoi na qua chung tua. Cheek exi qua chung tua. Tua di bo vi na tu truong. Jong qua lina van du du. And hung moi tu du king ko fi tra gia bang mot du gi du. Hoda noi rat ro du gisezara nu tua ti dao lai. Nu tua Thursday hut su chu y den ban then. Nu tua chobat kyai beat tua tuk sula ai. Nuok mat geo dang lan dai tren kuan mat qua jenna. Ve la ka de bien mat. Tua de bien mat. Lina gat dao. Ten moi tan fo moi truong hok moi. Tua de hua voi mi rang tua si kong bao geo den now nua. Kong bao geo sudung ky nong lien tap qua min. Kong bao geo lam bat siu ju gi ko the dan ho tro lai voi chung tua. Konin Derek, nuoi van dang nam tren san. Oam lay ko te qua min. Trong 12 thang, tua de ju loi hua du. Moi kai on de tua, moi kai on de doa tua. Moi kai on king kuok song qua tua tiro nin kun ko. Tua du ko mot lua chan. Tu ve va mau him moi Thursday. Hokim lang va ju in tone. Jong ko tiro nin gay gat. Hamne, on de tuak di su lua chan du koi tua. On de dat te len ko tua. On de ko gang dung dao goi den veo matwa. Va tua nen ra mot ju. Kon goi exom suong. Du a mat and gang tam voi Derek. Nu tuat on lam tua dao. Nu tuat on tang. Ti tua si day choam gai on rang im lang la lua chan duwe not. Rang and hung nuoi nu on luon tang. Rang and hung nuoi kan lai trong chung ta chi kan chap nen du du. Ko dung len tro lai. Tua kong the lam du du. Kong 5 voi ko I kong 5 voi ban than tua kong kanua. Tiang byuk chan che vang vong suong han lang. Ai du de ne fe tiang on ao. Jiao vien bao vi. Bo mai qua truong koi kung kung bat dao hot dong. And hung trua kai bat kyai kok den. Jenna de lam mot du bat ngio. Ko rut dien tho ira. Tua de ghi lai moi Thursday. Ko noi. Jong run and hung day quiet tom. Tu koen kok Derek day ka veo tu qua. Tuata ko tat ca. Dao qua Derek jiat v fia ko. Jenna. Du a dien tho I cho on. Kong Jenna. On the voi chua. Nu m kong du a dien tho I cho on nai bai geo. On se bien kuok song qua m tan mot kan ac mong toi te. Jenna Louis lai mot byuk. Om chat thiet by veonguk. On de bien kuok song qua moi nu oi tan mot kan ac mong trong nu nam roy. Bomi luan bao vi on. Ho luan jai quiet kak venda. And hung tua kong muon chung kien nua. Tua kong muon im lang nua. Ko nin lina voi motv kin gak. Ka de cho tua the dung len trong nu the now. Nai ca kai fi tra gia bang moi Thursday. Ko nut kan. Bai geo den lut tua. Mo jiao vien di vong qua gak tuong. Ong Patterson. Nuoi jiam sat han lang tiang on cap chow trong geo and trua. Ong quan sat kan tuong voi doi mat mo2. Derek nam tren son. Lina dung voi hai te buong thong. Jenna kok. Te kem dien thoi. Chien gi de zay rao day. Ong ta hoi. Truoc kai Derek ko the dung chuyen. Truoc kai han ko the bop mio ka chuyen theo kechma jia din han luan bop mio kak ka chuyen. Jenna len tieng. Entree toa de tan song kai. Antade ka I veo tu qua va ko gang bop ko kai. Kai de tu v. Toa ko video v moi Thursday. Kuan mat qua ong Patterson tai met. Ong ta voi le bo dam qua min. Toa kan hu truong o han lang phia dong nai lap tu si va goi bao v. Hai geo tip theo la motmo han don qua den huin quang va and hung kuok tiro chuyen song tang. Linan goi tren mot cheek gi ben nguive and fong hu truong. Mot cheek chan chong qua vai. Moten and vien tu ven qua truong lang vang gon du. Dat and hung ka hoi na and hang ma lina tra loi bang and hung em teet don du. Ko hong kove and con down huck noi and hung gon te qua derek seat chat veo kai quan qua ko. Quakan qua. Ko the nathe and hung jong noi lon tieng. Ti truong Richard roared den catch day 45 foot. Bo vest dat tien va nu koi jia tau qua ong ta kong che jiao duok su hong lon ben dui. Ong tata o trong van fong qua bacsi Whitmore katu du. Va jong du qua kuok tiaro chuyen de chuyen tu yu ka sang van xian sang mot ju gi dunagon jong nu tuet vong. Jenin goi catch lina ba cheek gi. Dien thoi van nam chat trong te. Koda kong noi gi katu kai dua ra loi kai. And hung mat ko siu leaknin v phia kan qua van fong hu truong. Jiat min moi kai jong qua cha kolon tieng. Ong ise rat tu si john. Ko ti tam. Lina nin ko. Ka ko so kong? So hai tat du. Jenna ko gang no mot nu koi uot. And hung twa so han v and hung gi twa se taro tan nu twam lang. Twa da chung kien derek lam tun thwang moi nuoi trong nu nam. Twa da chung kien bomi twa che de no. Vamwa kai twa kong noi gi. Twa lai tro nan jong ho han mot chut. Ko lao mat bang mu ban te. Twa kong muon jong ho nua. Kin qua van fong hu truong morat truong rorbuk ra. Kuan matong ta deo mot cheek mat na qua su tuc john duok kimsot. Ong ta kong nin lina. Ong ta kong nin kan gai min. Ong ta chi don john la din gang qua ho vi phia loi ra de cam dien thoi trente. De don zep kak gok du. De ko gang keen van de nai bien mat nu tat ca and hung van de kok. And hung lon nai, ong ta de quam yuan. Boy v trong kai ong ta dang tren kai voi hu truong. Jenna de ban ron. Ko de gue ban saw qua video den ba dia chi email kok now. Mot dia chi thwak v mot na bao tai dai tin tuc dia fwang. Nuoi de du tra jia din roar trong nu thang. Mot dia chi thwak v tam tu saraman ro. Nuoi su ly kak vu on lean quan den tre, 6 ton nian tai van fong kan sat truong quan. Va mot dia chi thwak v mot dike vu sa lu duok mahoa kong the bizoa. True tap hok fa hui. Kai ti truong roar nen ra and hung gi de zra. Quan ko domino dao tien de du. Na bao song bo video veo toi ham du. Den sang no de duok zem han 200. 000 lon. Don fim that tai hai. Derek de lina veo tu qua. Te qua derek si chat coco. Dao goi qua derek nak len v phia mat ko. Vasadu trong mot chui dien ra nu mot tsai gi du tu mot bo fim han dong. Fanung chinzak tan ka qua lina. Fan ben luan bung no. Ko gai nai la ai? Ko I de hak duok du duo dao? Tai saw truong hak lai de du nai zra? Tam tumen ro den truong trung hak crestwood veo sang ham, sao voi hi si quan mak dong fuk valen bat ju derek. Kak sao byuk la han hung va de doa hin su. Kak sao byuk bo sung lin quan den, kahoch hoi lo voi ong doil dang cho su ly. Ban the ong doil by bat tai na veo chiu ham du. Mai tin qua ong ta chua ho so tan ton kio dai 5 nam. Tat ca du duok chuyen qua kak song tai vo boc ko lin he voi and fong ti truong. Ong ta dong y hop tak voi kak song to vien de doi le mot ban on jiam ne. Trong vong mot tuan. Chien dike transu thong da qua ti truong roar de chet yu. Tong chuang ly tu bang mot kuok du tra chin tuk v tam, and hung va kan tro tsong ly. Kak na tai tro bo che. Kak su chung tuk boc hoi. Nuoi den ong my mot thoi duong nu din san cho mot 6 tri chow han chung kien de che qua min sup du tu ben trong. Derek by Dui Hok Koi Truong Trung Hok Crestwood Vin Vien. Kak Truong Hok Truok De Kwa Han. Duak Kuyen Kich Boi Su Dua Tin Kwa Gi Oi Trian Thong. De Dua Ra Kak Twenbo Zak Nan Ranghan Kungda by Dui Koi Kak to Chuk Kwa Ho. Mak Du Ho So Chin Tu Kwa Han Twenbo Du Engwak Lai. Ba Nan Nan Kok De Dung Ra. And Hung Hok Sinda Bai Tra Tien Hok by De Doa Phi Im Lang Nu Nam Truok. Ka Trian Kwa Ho Du Them Dao Veo Gon Lua Von De Chai Nguai Tam Kim Sot. Bak Si Whitmore Twenbo Gi Hu Ko Hu Luke Nai Lap Tuc. Hoi Dong Na Truong Koi Dong Mot Kuok Zem. Zet Ton Dien Ve Kak Thursday Tuc Ky Lut. Kak Chin Sach Moi Duok Tukienda Bout Sao Han 6 Quay, Roy Va Bat Nat. Mot Ui Ben Jiam Sat Dok Lap Duok Ton Lap De Dam Bao Rang Kong Jia Din Now. Du Jiao Ko He Ko Quan He The Now. Ko The Tao Tung He Thong Nua. Va Trong Sut Tat Ca. Lina Quan Sat Tu Ben Lu. Ko Dua Ra Loi Kai Kwa Min Cho Kan Sat. Ko Kung Kap Loi Kai Cho Kak Na Du Tra. Ko Tra Loi Di Tra Loi Lai and Hung Ka Hoi Jong Now. Moalon Teet Lo The Mot Chut Su That. Ko De Tron Tran Kwa Lao. Vang. Ten Ko I Kong Tuk Su La Lina Hallberg. Vang Ko I Lot Sao Bac. Vang Ko I De Tron Tran Trong Nam Kwa. Kong. Ko I Kong Hoi Han Vi and Hung Gi Ko I De Lam. Tam Tuman Ro Ket Noi Ko Voi Kak Ko Quan Lin Bang Chuyen Ve Kak Vu, on Lin Quan Den Kak Moi De Doa Kwak Te. Ho Zem Zet Tin Hin Kwa Ko. Fong Ven Mi Ko Va Tien Han Kuok Du Tra Kwa. Rieng Ho Ve and Hung Nuoi De Day, Lina Veo Tron Tran. Tin Tuc La Then Trong Lak Quan. To Chuk De Doa Ho De Sui Udang Ku Trong Nam Kwa. Mouthwan Noi Bo. AP Luke Tuk Ti Fap Lut On U Kwak Jia. Vu Bat Juemot So Nen Vat Chu Chat. Sunoi Him Chua Bien Mat Hon Ton. And Hung Nota Jiam Bat Denim Lina Vumi Ko Ko The Bat Dao Hin Dung Ramot Kuok Song Kok. Batuan Sao Vu Vik Ohan Lang. Jena Tim Thay Lina Deng Goi Mot Min Tren Kan Dai Ben Sen Bongda. Kong Kai Mua Thursday Se Lan. Mang Theo Mui Larung Va and Hung Dong Lua Tre Oxa. Jena Leo Len Kak Bac Tang Van Goi Suong Ben Kan Ko. Trong Mot Koen Kok Dai. Ca Hai Nuoi Hodu Kong Noigi. Sao Du Jena Fa Vio Suim Lang. Tua Xian Loi. Lina Quay Sang Nin Ko. Vi Du Gi. Vida Kong Nan Ken On I Sum Han. Vida Kwa So Hai De Len Tieng. Vida Chung Kien On I Lam Tun Thuong Moi Nuoi. Va Tu Nu Rang Du Kong Phi La Van De Kwa Tua. Jong Kwa Jena Engen Geo. Tua Beat On I La Gi. Tua Beat Jia Din Tua La Gi. Va Tua De Kong Lam Gi Ca. Lina Sui Gi Vi Du Nai Trong Mot Koen Kok. Sao Du Ko Lak Dao. Im Lang Kong Phi La Mot Toi Ac. Jena A. So Hai Kong Phi La Mot Toi Loi. Kalar Mot Du A Tray by Mak Ket Trong Mot Tin Hung Kong The Va Ka De Lam and Hung Gi Ka Phi Lam De Song Sat. Ko Vuan Te Ra Va Nam Le Te Jena. And Hung Kai Ju Du Quan Trong Not. Kai Ka Ko Ko Hoi De Dua Ra Mot Lua Chan Kok. Ka De Dua Ra No. Ka De Ghi Lai Video Du. Ka De Gui No Cho and Hung Nuoi Ko The Jup Du. Ka De Dung Truok Mat Chamin Va Noi Ra Su That. Ko Seat Chat Kak Gon Te Kwa Jena. Im Lang Kong Phi La Mot Toi Ac. And Hung Ka Vuaku Tua. Va Ju Du Quan Trong Han Bat Siu Du Gi De Zay Ra Truok De. Nuok Mat Kwa Jena Treo Ra Ko Dua Veo Lina. Va Lina Om Le Ko. Hai Ko Gai Du Mang Tren Vi and Hung Gen Nong Kwa Lan. Koi Kung Kung Cho Fep Min Dat and Hung Gen Nong Du Suong. Toi Ham Du. Lina Dung Ben Nguai Kwa Kalak Bo Judo Kwa Truong Trung Hok Crestwood. Ko De Dung Ode 15 Foot. Te Ko De Geo Lendigo Kwa. And Hung Ko Duong Nu Kong The Keen Min Di Chuyen. Lon Koi Kung Ko Byuk Len Tam Ti Dao. Ton Bo Kuok Song Kwa Ko De Tan Vio. Waigi Lam Lai Judu. Nai Ca Trong Mot Kalak Bo Kwa Truong. Nai Ca Chi De Luyen Tap. Keen Long Nguk Ko That Lai Vi Lo Lang. Kan Kwa Mora Truok Kai Ko Ko The Quiet Din. Mot Nuoi Fu Nuo Du Tuoi 50 Voi My Talk DMBAC Va Doi Mat Hien Tu, Nin Ra Nguai. Kahan La Lina. Tua La Huan Lien Vien Williams. Tua De Mong Doi Ka. Lina Chop Mat. Mong Doi Tua. Tin Tuc Lan Trian and Han Chong Trong Tsong Dong Judo. Huan Lien Vien Williams Byuk Sang Mot Ben. Ra Hu Cho Lina Byuk Veo. Sao bac ti dao dui mot sai ten moi tai mot truong trung hako jua vung hiolan. Moi nuoi den en thay. Lena du du. Tuakong chuk min de san song de ti dao lai. Ainoigiv vik ti dao dao? Juan Luyan Veen Williams Mim Koi. Tuadang Noi Ve Vik Tap Luyan. V Vik Tro Ton Mot Fan Qua Doi. V Vik Nolai Ly Du Tai Sa Ka Yu Tikmon the Tau Nai Nai Tu Dao Truak Kai Moi Thursday Kok Kan Duong. Ko Mo Rong Qua Han Nua. Kong Ap Luke. Kong Mong Doi. Chi Ko Ka. Tam Tam Va Bat Cu Jugi Ka Kan Du Nai Tro Ton. Lena Hit Mot Hoi. Roy Mot Hoi Nua. Saudu Ko Byuk Qua Qua. Kan Fong No Han Ko Tuong. Mo Ta Hok San Dang John Ko Tren Tam. Tu and Hung Hok San Nam Not Trong Nu Chua Tung Dam Ai Den. And Hung Hok San Nam Koi Voi Tu the Tu Tin Qua and Hung Nuoi Han Ne Ko Kin Niam. Tat Ca Hodu Engwak Len Kai Lena Byuk Veo. Trong Mot Koen Kok. Kong Ai Siu Dong. Sao Du Tung Nuoi Mot Ho Cui Chow. Nobat Dao Voi Mot Ko Gio Hung Dao. Mot Hok San Nam Ba Voi My Talk Ben Va Doi Te Chai San. Sao Du. Chong Tre Ben Kan Ko. Sao Du La Fan Kan Lai Kwa Kan Fong. Mot Lon Song Tun Trong Lon Toa Ra Nguai Cho Den Kai Moi Nu Oi Du Cui Chow V Fialina. Juan Lian Veen Williams Quan Sat Voi Mot Nu Koi No. Ho Beat Kala Ai Va Ho Beat Kata Lam Gi. Lena Kam Thay Nuok Mat Dang Len Trong Mat. Ko Cui Chow Dap Lai. Sao Va Trang Trong. Theo Catch Koda Duok De Kai Ko 8 Tuoi. Cam On. Ko Ti Tam. Cam On V De Cho Tua Quay Lai. Dem Du. Ko Di Bo V Na Qua and Hung Kan Duong Ma Ko Kim Thay Kok So Voi Mot Thang Truok. Bong Toi Van Kan Du. And Hung Chung Duong Nu Bat De Doa Han. Gan Nong Tren Vi Kovan Kan. And Hung Bang Catch Now Du No Ne Han. Ni Ko Dang Doi Kai Ko V Den Na. Hon Goi Kung Now Tren Chik the Van de Montrong Kan Ho No Qua Hova Lena Kacho Ba Ne Moi Thursday Ve Tran Chien. V Jenna. V Kalak Bo Judo Va Juan Lian Veen Williams Va and Hung Hok San De Cui Chow Kai Ko Byuk Veo. Mi Ko Lang Ne Ma Kong Gat Loi. Kai Lena Kazong. Barm Lang Trong Mot Koen Kok Dai. Sao Du. Ba Vuan Te Ra Va Nam Le Kuan Mat Qua Lena Trong Te. Mi De Bat Kan Hua Phi Tron Tran. Ba Noi Nain Hang. Mi Gimi Dang Bao V Kan. And Hung Mi Gimi Chi Dang De Kan Phi No B. Ba Lak Dao. Kan Kong Bao Geo Duok Sin Ra De Nobi Ca. Kan Duok Sin Ra De Tro Tan Chin Kan. Lena Kam Thay Mot Jugi Du Noi Long Trong Long Nguk Ko. Mo Thursday Gi Duda by Seat Chat Trong 12 Thang Koi Kung Kung Bat Dao Go Roy. Kan and Hung Nuoi De Doa Chung Ta Ti Saw? Ko Hoi. Nu Ho Fat Hien Ra Chung Ta Dango Dao Ti Saw? V Mat Kwami Ko Tro Nin Gay Gat. Siu De Ho Fat Hien Ra Ho Se Fat Hien Ra Mot Ko Kung Gai Beat Catch Chien Dao Va Mot Nuoi Mi De Ngung Che Tron. Dem Du. Lena Nam Tren Juong Van and Cham Cham Len Tren Na. Ko the Ko Down Huk V and Hung Su Kien Qua and Hung Tuan Qua. And Hung Tom Tri Ko Yen Tin Lon Dao Tien Sao Mot Thoi John Dai Han Ko the No. Dien Thoi Ko Rung Tren Tu Dao Juong. Ko Nak No Len. Mo Tin Nan Tu Mot So Kong Zak Din. Sao Bac Ho Beat Ka Dango Dao Roy. Koi Chung. Lena Nin Cham Cham Veo Mon Hin Trong Mot Koen Kok Dai. Sao Du. Ko Dat Dien Thoi Suong. Lon Nuoi Nam Enging Va Nam Mat Lai. Kwa Ku Van Chua Ket Tuk Voi Ko. And Hung Ko Kong Kan La Ko Gai De Che Tron Koi Budapest 12 Thang Truok. Ko Kong Kan La Ko Gai Tron Trong Au Hoodie Va Han Lang Trong Rome. Nuoi Jiat Min Truok and Hung Tieng Dong Lon Va Tran Jiao Tip Bang Mat. Nuoi Keen Min No Bi Voi Hai Vong the Gioi Se Quain Rang Ko Tun Tai. Ko Lots Au Bac. Va Bat Cu Ju Gi Zara Tip Theo. Ko Se Doi Mat Voi No Kai Dung Len. Bong Toi Tu Qua Ku Qua Lena Dang Kep Lai. Lu Ko I Ko San Song Kai Ho Den Kong. Dang Ky Nai Bai Giovan and Veo Chuang Thong Bao Ban Kong Bo Lo and Hung Gise Zara Tip Theo. Vada Lai Mot Ben Luan Ben Dui. Ban De Bao Geo Phi and Gung Tron Tran Va Koi Kung Dung Vung Tren Lap Truong Qua Min Chua? Tuamuan Ne Ka Chuen Qua Ban. Ava Ju Du Ket Tuk Video Ham Ne. Cam on Rat Nu V De Dan Mot Chut Doi John Voi Tua Tren Fearless Grace. Dung Quain Tik. Dang Ky Va Rung Chuang V Kak Video Tip Theo De Ko Tren Du.